point is to be an absolute team by the time you get to set. And the way to do that is to show up and break these guys every day together and let them sort of support each other and build each other up and become a real unit.
And bring that dedication.
Yo, Rebel Moon is finally here, and I am here for it. Fantastic job, gentlemen. I loved it. Now, Michiel, Gunnar is a naive farmer who isn't a fighter, but he really grounds this Rebel Moon ragtag group. Can you talk about Gunnar's journey through the first part of the film, through the part one?
Yeah, I love how you put that he grounds it a bit. He's perhaps the most relatable character because he's not this super heroic guy, especially not in the beginning. He makes a grave mistake, and a lot of what motivates him throughout Rebel Moon Part 1 is finding redemption.
Charlie, Kai's a bounty hunter with roguish charm, but his motivations are not straightforward. He's a very complex character with many layers. What or who inspired your take on Kai?
I'm not sure if we need to throw around labels such as bounty hunter, but I see where you're coming from. My inspiration very much was British traveler culture. There's something about that culture that I've always been absolutely fascinated by. I grew up in proximity to it in northern England, and there's something about the swag and sort of autonomy of that culture that are quite heavily sort of persecuted more and more, unfortunately, and they just sort of stay off to the side and do their own thing, and and have a really great, charming, sort of uncompromising attitude towards the rest of the world, which I thought was really, really fun to try to imbue in Kai a little bit.
Michiel, this isn't just the hero's journey for Gunnar. It's also a redemption story, like you just said. Can you talk about how the theme of redemption applies to Gunnar?
Gunnar really cares for his community. And the last thing he wants is to put his community in danger. And he's now put the existence of their existence under threat, really. So he will be forced to step up to the plate. And that's obviously always a very exciting character to play because oh wow, he's got a big journey ahead of him.
Zack is a visionary director, and he's probably one of the best DPs on the planet. What did him being in the trenches with you as a DP add to Rebel Moon?
It's amazing. Just, the thing is with Zack is that he's a true artist. And so everything that you see in this film is coming out of his artistic integrity, his imagination, his passion. And so we were sort of welcomed into that, but not just as passengers, as participants. As fully realized as this world was before we got invited to come play, he still left room for us all to be fellow artists and to work with him. And I think there was something about the proximity of him being there filming where he could talk to us while we were shooting, and sometimes we would do long takes where he'd go back and keep doing that. I'm really liking what you're playing with there, see if you can keep going with that color. The moment that I remember most acutely with that was the one of the last moments that you and I shared together in part 1. And we just kept doing that for a while, remember? And he just kept roaming,
keep
and
going.
roaming and getting closer to us. And it was very, very strange and intimate between you, me, and Zack. That few hours of filming.
I completely agree, because he was not only directing, as you say, he was also the cinematographer, but he was also often choosing to operate the camera, like in this instance.
Now, Zack really cultivates this unique camaraderie amongst his cast members. It's almost like a head coach where players will run through a wall for him. What's the key to cultivating that culture on set?
It was training, a lot of training.
That's true.
It's true. There's no way to avoid it.
And also the gym really followed us. Wherever we went, if our set moved and we went to a different location, a couple hours outside of LA, there was still a gym. But that's where we met. That's where we would go in between setups if we had time, and it created a bond very early on.
And it's tough. It's really demanding. I had not anticipated. I did not know it was mandatory. In fact, initially when I was told that the training protocol was mandatory, I completely rejected the mandate and said, I'm not doing it. We never discussed it. You never see anything but my hands and my neck and my face. I don't need to be ripped in this film. But then I so glad that I realized that actually the physical end result is not the point of it. The point is to be an absolute team by the time you get to set. And the way to do that is to show up and break these guys.